Hi, Internet. Welcome to something really completely different. My name is Marie. I go by the handle Pure Doxic online when I'm discussing polyphasic sleep, but I am not here to discuss polyphasic sleep. I am here to do a little, I hope this will be a series that I'm calling Not Enlightened Yet. There are a couple reasons for this, one of which is that my sleep schedule has been in a hilarious shambles lately, and this is related to why this series exists. This exists because I want to take some time in my morning period to do something, morning, sorry, morning period, to do something to chronicle how the changes that need to happen in my brain get made, because I'm trying to make some really big ones, actually arguably much bigger than I did when I was completely hacking my sleep schedule or food or any of the other things that I've decided to hack in the past, and it felt worth documenting. I'm doing it in the mornings and calling it Not Enlightened Yet because this is really a process of waking up from a year of the mental Romans raising and salting the earth of my brain. I always like to think that things should be over quickly and done with and healed from as soon as you understand them, but it doesn't work that way. Shit fell apart on me a year ago, and, in ways that it has to sometimes because it's a natural outcropping of things that needed to be realized and needed to happen in psychology and all of that. Great. But I've been spending the last year going, okay, I get it. It's over now, right? It's over now, right? And it's not over now. It's probably starting to get over now. I think I'm finally kind of healing up a bit, and I realized in the process of realizing that I'm finally healing up a bit and can probably start rebuilding things in terms of mental habits and the frame of my consciousness, because that's the kind of thing that I like to think that I can build. No, fuck it, that's the kind of thing I can build. Anyway, I thought since I'm rebuilding this, then I will document it a little bit, because if I succeed at all, then it'll be really, I think, worth seeing as a process for people. And I don't like to do anything that is completely and totally isolated in the sense that no one else gets to benefit from it but me. If what I do is I succeed in hacking my brain to this extent, then I want other people to be able to follow some breadcrumbs and get there too. Assuming it turns out well, of course, and if it doesn't, then I want to leave a big, radioactive biohazard symbol on this particular path so that other people can stay off of it. The other reason for doing this in the mornings, actually there are two. So the first is the symbolic one. This is kind of a waking up and building things thing. And the second is I tend to be nervous about putting myself out there, and I think almost everyone, at least everyone American that I've ever met, and most people who are not American that I've ever met, nervous about how I look. So I'm deliberately doing this first thing at wake up, get coffee, check emergency email, do the podcast thing. I guess this is a video cast or whatever. So you get me with my glasses probably most of the time, and my whatever I slept in. So yeah, that's a purpose for that. I do get prettier, I swear, but I'm not here to be pretty. And I think that maybe when it comes to some things in this world, we, as a particularly superficial society, need to get over how very much we like to be pretty, and just not be. I am a nerd. I am trying to do something intensely mental and difficult, and so the internet seemed like a good place to do it and a good group of people to carry along. I love the internet. I like to say I was born here, although of course I was born a little bit before vlogs at least. Anyway, so forgive things like my tentacle shirt and my Splunk hoodie and my mug of Vi. These are not problems. This is my life. Okay. So yeah, why not? I figure if all of this goes nowhere, then I will have not produced the stupidest thing on YouTube, right? Thank you all for making sure that no matter what I do, I probably cannot produce the stupidest thing on YouTube. Very happy about that. I'm only going to go on for another couple minutes because this is really introductory, and I want to say two of the things that I'm not going to be doing here, by way of being more explicit about what I am doing. That's very Buddhist, to define a positive in terms of a negative, which is amusing because one of the things that I'm definitely not going to be doing here is Buddhism qua Buddhism. One of the things that Buddhism has actually been something I've been exploring more of lately. As some of you will know from just reading my writings, I'm not a practicing Buddhist, although I have meditated with Buddhists many times, and they've often been a source of good information and practice for me, but in terms of actual belief systemness, in so far as I have one, I am a philosophical Taoist. And as a philosophical Taoist, I don't find a lot of information that is practice-oriented, that is specifically geared to me, which is why I end up meditating with Buddhists a lot. If I want to listen to spirituality-based podcasts that, you know, have to do with mindfulness and directly hacking one's consciousness and really getting into how is my brain working in the world? How can I affect this? How am I making myself miserable and screwing up my life? And how can I stop doing that? Literally, like, where is the command line? Where can I type that says change this thing? You just don't find a lot of modern Taoist teachings on the subject, at least nowhere near you do in the quantity and accessibility Buddhists. However, Buddhism has, the reason that I identify as Taoist rather than Buddhist is that Buddhist has this whole backdrop to it. It is a charismatic cult religion, exactly in the same way that Christianity is, and you can argue about the value of one or the other's, enlightened person that they've chosen to follow, etc. But in both cases, you have thousands and thousands of years of built-up interpretation attempting to follow what is, let's face it, the world's oldest old code. And, hey, I'm okay with Fortran. Let's talk about COBOL. But I don't want to code my brain in something that is that old and that has been reinterpreted that many times, and also that I haven't seen. Like, I'm interested in writing this hack, not finding somebody else's. So, I am going to talk about these things, and I may reference Buddhism. Hell, I may reference Christianity. Wow, I love that sentence. But I am not going to be really getting into this as Buddhism qua Buddhism. So Buddhist terms, sure, be prepared to hit Wikipedia if you don't know them. Same thing with Taoism. But this is really an organization-free, sort of. I want a really as direct and understandable and cogent to right here and right now way of doing this that I can come up with. So for me, that probably means a lot of technical and systems metaphors and a lot of just blunt talking around it and trying to figure it out. And I would love this to be a conversation, and I'm open to all conversing on the topic, of course, inside or outside Buddhist traditions, but traditionless is really what I'm going for here. There's a kind of point B to that, and that'll be the last thing that I say this time. Something that I don't like in other presentations of topics of this nature, topics concerning what I will call enlightenment for now, although I do plan to define that, is the air of polished presence that you get from people who are discussing it. You can hear this by going to any speech, listening to any podcast. People talk like this. They say, when we are discussing the Four Noble Truths, we must at all times remember. And that's very pretty, again. it does lend an air of authority, and you do get similar things in many religious backgrounds that are not just, you know, Buddhist. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but when I hear that, I hear someone acting like they are present. I hear someone working to stay here, but there's a doubleness to it. Like, you're not here, you're working to be here. There's a difference. And it really gripes on me. Like, it pulls me right out of it. I can't meditate with that kind of voice around. I have a terrible time with guided meditations, actually, because almost everyone guiding a meditation is doing this. And they are being very deliberate. And it's fake. I'm sorry. I've watched movies my whole life, like everybody else. I know acting when I hear it. It's acting. And acting is almost the antithesis of what the purpose of this is. This is about stripping away the acting. This is about shutting up that second layer of voice that makes everything, in a sense, fake. And so that's, you know, I'm very specifically not doing that here. I don't have notes. I'm letting myself ramble. I know I'm talking too fast. I'm going to do that because I would rather have things look unpolished and stuttery and whatever, especially at the beginning of this process. They're supposed to. Then, if I manage to change things about how my mind works, it will naturally change the appearance of things. The appearance of things is not where our focus in this is. We are in our jammies. We are wearing our glasses. We are here to talk about the config files, not the UI. The UI will change when we make the proper changes to the config files, and that is the best I can put it right now. I will try to, you know, write down anything I come up with. It makes it easier to state. But anyway, so I am, while these talks are spiritually oriented in topic, while this is about, at base of it, and I know it's funny that I'm finally saying this at the end of the video, but while this is about finding what everyone is referring to when they say enlightenment, whether they understand what they're referring to or not, while this is about seeing and becoming God, while this is about, okay, you are in the middle of your life and you have run down the wrong path how many times now, and it is time to deliberately find a path. It is time to deliberately walk a path. And I've been studying what is the best consciousness, what is enlightenment, what is the ideal way to go my whole life. You know, some of that is because, you know, come on, I was raised in and around Detroit. I learned to have terrible self-esteem. I have done so many things wrong from the beginning and had to rewrite them. And then I just kind of went with that, and I've rewritten my sleep schedule, and I've completely changed so much about how I am. And now, you know, I'm in my 30s, and I want to know that I'm going to spend the rest of my life changing things the way that I can honestly, openly say is not only beneficial for me, but a path that, you know, I can be happy about other people knowing and following. Why are we doing this if not to do it right? That's really kind of it. So anyway, I will be back with episode 2 of Not Enlightened Yet, wherein you who are not enlightened and I who am not enlightened can talk some more about what enlightenment is, and do it while not being pretty and and not showing any polished presence whatsoever. And probably come up with some more hilarious phrases, and maybe if we get bored, refresh our knowledge of I from my coffee mug. Thank you very much, everyone, especially who listened to the end of this, and I will not see you, but talk to you again soon.